Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood stock picker, and I'm going to look over the overall market. I'm going to mention a couple of stocks in this video, and we're going to look at Bitcoin. And if you don't mind, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I definitely appreciate it. I put out daily videos, and let's get right into it. Now, first off, you will see that we've got a relatively mixed day. We've got some names like Amazon, Nvidia up, anywhere 2-3%. We've got other names like Apple, Walmart down about 2%. So we do have a relatively mixed market as of this upload. Things can, of course, change. Next, I wanted to show you guys Bitcoin because I think it's really interesting that this is on an absolute run, and yet the overall market, even large cap tech, is only up like 1%, on average. So I find it really interesting that it seems like Bitcoin is starting to diverge. And there's a lot of people that have actually mentioned that this will happen at some point. I believe Kathy Wood said it. Now looking at the technicals though, the MACD is still pointing up. RSI is definitely very, very, very overbought. So keep an eye on that. It's definitely likely will pull back on Bitcoin. I do want to see it establish a support over 30,000. Just sit around this $30,000 level and start establishing support. I don't know about all of you, but I personally have just a long-term strategy on Bitcoin. I just focus on accumulation and focus on dollar cost averaging with an emphasis on trying to buy during kind of weak times in the market. So for me, I would not buy right now. I would be waiting. I want to see that RSI usually relatively oversold, and that's when I like to DCA. So yes, it's not necessarily DCAing as in just blindly dollar cost averaging. But I do, time to time I'll kind of just throw in here and there whenever, it doesn't really matter. But I do like to typically look at the technicals, and at a time like this, I would be waiting on Bitcoin. I would not buy right now. Although long-term $30,000, I mean, come on. I think within 2 years, we will be pushing our previous all-time high of about 69,000, and we'll be looking back wishing we acquired more at 30,000. Having said that, though, wait for it to pull back, keep an eye on just 30,000 even. We might hit 30,000 and bounce, so I think that could be a good entry point. But let me know what you guys think down below about Bitcoin. It is kind of interesting that it's starting to run up while the overall market kind of does its own thing. And I saw this yesterday as well, when just the whole market was really selling off. I mean, we had like a 4% down day on the NASDAQ, which is huge. And Bitcoin really didn't fall all that much compared. So this is really interesting. And this is going to be important to watch, especially if tech does continue to sell off. I would love to see Bitcoin start rallying. I don't know. I kind of find it unlikely. I think we will have these days where things kind of don't go together, but we will still have some days where, things all go up together, all sell off together. But it is interesting to see that Bitcoin is starting to diverge. Alright, my friends, and now I also wanted to mention VGX, Voyager token. And this one right now is falling from overbought. MACD is still bullish. I think it's going to curl, and I think we're going to come down a little bit. And I want to see this one establish support at 75 cents. I think 75 cents would be a great entry point on VGX if you don't have any yet. And for me personally, I have a decent position already, but I would be adding some here at 75 cents. We seem to have priced a bottom in at about 60 cents, and we just started running, found resistance right at about 95 cents, started pulling back. So I'm personally keeping an eye on this one and waiting for that 75 cents. I think there's no rush personally for VGX. And as we continue on just this wait with regulation issues, waiting for any kind of information moving forwards, I think this will continue to just kind of stagnate, stay where it's at, not do a whole lot until we get a clear direction in terms of regulation and what they're actually planning on doing. So there are still uncertainties with VGX, and I do think that there will be plenty of time to kind of just add to this one. I'm taking my time on VGX. I'm in no rush. I do have a pretty built out position, so your results may vary. But I am extremely bullish on VGX, and Voyager actually just released their earnings. It didn't go as great as it could have, but no big surprise, same thing with Coinbase. All the exchanges are suffering as Bitcoin's price drops, and as that volume just stays lower. But I do expect a nice rise in both Coinbase, Voyager stock, and VGX. I think all three of these would actually be decent investments at this price. And I do expect when we get a nice turnaround in Bitcoin, could be a month from now, could be 6 months from now, I do expect it at some point. Now I also wanted to mention Astra, guys, and if you're wondering about the next launch, we've got some information here. We already knew this, but just for those of you that haven't heard, we are literally just waiting on regulation. And their next launch is for the Tropics mission. They say here that currently the LV-0010 rocket and the first payloads for the NASA Tropic mission are ready for launch. So everything's ready in terms of Astra and NASA. They're completely ready. They're just waiting for approval. And once regulators give that information, Astra will be giving us an update. And looking at Astra lately, you'll see that we've been developing higher highs and higher lows. And I still think it's a great time to get in. Yes, you might not be getting in at $2.10, but if you're concerned that it has ran up a little bit lately, just be aware that, this was like a $10, $11, $12 stock. I think right now it is an absolute steal, and if you want a rocket company, I think this is the best choice. I much prefer this over Rocket Labs. I much prefer this over Virgin Galactic, SPCE. I definitely think Astra is the best choice. And I've got a short clip for you guys, and let's roll it.
If you look at this opportunity, it is truly being gated by access to space. If you have a new application, a new sensor that you're trying to develop, and you have a business that you're trying to fund, a service that you're trying to provide, and you can't get it into space, you're held back. Your revenue streams are held back. Your fundraising is held back. Your ability to make progress is held back. And so as we see this trillion-dollar opportunity unfolding in both public and private companies alike over the next several decades, we see access to space as the key enabler for unlocking the new space economy. And so just in the last year, we've seen almost a dozen companies, I believe, go public, raising billions of dollars of capital to build new applications across global communications, IoT, Earth observation, national security applications. These are real businesses that are generating real revenue, solving real problems here on Earth from space. And this wasn't the case 10 years ago or 20 years ago. We have customers that have collectively raised billions of dollars to build satellites to have a huge impact here on Earth. And so when Adam and I first met, and I can't believe that this picture was taken just over 5 years ago in a garage in San Francisco, we imagined the potential of space. We imagined the idea of dramatically increasing access of space. In fact, we coined the phrase daily space delivery. And literally on day one, and I think Scott Stanford is somewhere in the audience, when we first raised our first money to build this business, the idea was simple. Let's scale the number of launches. And that's a theme that we're going to be talking about throughout today, and you'll be seeing throughout your tours and throughout the conversations we're having throughout the morning. But it is our shared vision of a healthier and more connected planet that truly inspires everyone here in the building. And I think that we might all go to space for other reasons, to settle other planets, to spread humanity into the solar system. But for Adam and I, and for the whole team here at Astra, and for almost all of our customers, the mission is here on Earth. And the opportunity to improve life on Earth through these dimensions of a healthier planet and a more connected planet is truly something that has inspired all of the things that you'll see today, everything that's here in the building. And so the approach that we took was not to design and create PowerPoints and do it all of analysis and then 5 or 10 years later, finally maybe build a rocket. It was within 18 months of founding the company in that garage, getting a launch license and launching our first rocket, and then doing it again a few months later, and again, and again, and again, and again. This was not the popular way to approach this problem. You typically not want to iterate with a rocket, but we felt we could learn so much more quickly if we pulled the entire system together, and importantly, also, to iterate all the pieces of the rocket, we needed to build a factory that could actually manufacture a lot of the components of the rocket. And so what you'll see today is a factory that's actually manufacturing from raw materials, aluminum tubes, aluminum bricks, aluminum sheets, most of the components of the rocket. At that loading dock, materials come in. At that loading dock, that leaves the building. And throughout the tours today, you'll be able to see how we make most of the components of this rocket, the tanks, the structures, the valves, the engines, electronics, here in this building.
I definitely recommend you guys check out the full video, and I will leave the link down below. It is like a 2-hour video though, so be prepared. Alright, and next up I want to get into BNGO stock, or Bionanogenomics. And we just had recent news that Bionano will be presenting at the H.C. Wainwright Global Investment Conference, and this is going to be May the 24th. So get ready for that. There's going to be an interview, I'm sure, or a webcast, so going to be stuff there, and I will likely be covering it. Now with Bingo, it's a similar thing with Astra. We've been developing higher lows and higher highs, but it does look like we're finding resistance here at about 170. I personally think it's in a great time to buy. We're sitting at like a $400 million market cap, which to me is just stupid. Yes, I get they're a cash burning company. They're not profitable, but you look at the debt, you look at the cash on hand, they have got easily over 1 year of runtime at the very minimum before even thinking about dilution. Although yes, dilution is possibly on the table in the near future. I believe in the long term of this company. So I'm at this point with this, it's not just a short-term stock. Typically, of course, you don't want dilution, but with a company that you really believe in, that you have conviction in, and you believe that their product is so innovative, is disruptive technology, I don't mind if they need to scale up. I don't mind if they need more capital to grow and get more adoption of their OGM, optical genome mapping device. So I do believe in BNGO for the long term, but you do need to be aware that at some point they will likely need to dilute. But thanks as always guys for watching. Now let me know down below what your favorite stocks right now to pick up are. Until next time friends, take it easy.